Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Daniel. I'm the head of enrolments here at Fourth Rev, and it gives me great pleasure actually to welcome you today to our webinar, How to Break into a Product Design Career. Good on you, first of all. I love that you're committing to yourself by educating yourself around the opportunities by attending events such as this, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of value out of it, but it is about yourself and the information you're seeking. So we do ask for your engagement. We'll have some polls, obviously, along the way. But the best thing you can do is ask questions of myself and the panel when they come on in the Q&A function. We'll use the chat function to give you some resources, and feel free to introduce yourself as well in the chat function, but we'll use the Q&A for your specific questions as we go through the session. We're here to explore the exciting world of UX and UI product design and help you understand why it may be the right career move for you. It's a big decision, isn't it? So here to give you all that information. Whether you're a recent graduate, mid-career professional, or someone looking to make a complete career change, which is somewhat common, this webinar will provide valuable insights and practical guidance to help you achieve your goals in the field of product design. Just some context on our working partnership between Fourth Rev and King's College London, who are obviously globally renowned in this space. The partnership between King's and Fourth Rev brings together the best of university education and industry practices to design and deliver career accelerators, a learning model that's purpose-built to fast-track careers. That's a really important thing, to fast-track your career. These career-focused online programs equip learners with the deep and varied knowledge, practical skills, and recognition required to unlock tangible results in the job market. That's our whole being. In support of goals of career accelerators, events like this one were created to inform and inspire, hopefully, potential learners about their field of interest, in this case, UX, UI, product design. So the agenda today, here's what we'll look at and cover. To set the scene, we'll start with an overview of current product design landscape and give you a broad understanding of the state of the industry. We'll then move on to clarify what a product designer does, including the crucial roles of UX and UI in that. You'll also get practical advice on how you can make a transition into this exciting field. We'll also explore, and most importantly, how to use AI to your advantage as a product designer and when to rely on the human touch that AI can't. Finally, we'll look at how the King's UX UI Product Design Career Accelerator can help you navigate this career change. But most importantly, we've got a panel of experts to help and discuss today. So we'd love to move on now to meet your panel. It gives me great pleasure to welcome both Justin and Naven together. Naven, welcome. It's your first webinar with us, and we're so pleased that you could join us. Thank you ever so kindly. May I ask that you give us a quick overview, intro of your good self?
Amazing. Really happy to be here. So my name's Navin, or Nav for short. I am the founder of Multiply Talent. We specialize in hiring in the product design and product management space. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some good insight into what's happening in the market right now.
Fantastic, and much appreciate not only your time, but looking forward to your insights. Justin, a familiar face for some that may have been to other webinars. Certainly for me, you are. I work with you. But welcome, Justin, and it's great, always great to have your amazing insights into here. But for the audience's benefit, are you able to give yourself a quick intro?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a product design subject lead and course facilitator here at Fourth Rev. So my background is in product design, research, and service design for the last decade, both in the UK and across the EU. And I helped build this product design course along with some really great learning designers and other people here at Fourth Rev and King's. And I'm always trying to improve the course every quarter, actually. So we're always looking to improve. So happy to be here and share my thoughts on the industry, the course, and take any questions you might have.
Brilliant. Thank you. And lovely to see you as always, Justin. Your input's most valued. Thank you for the introductions. But before we get into this, the data on this slide, we'd love to ask the audience a question. We'd love to ask in a poll session, let me just bring it up. Why are you interested in product design? Let us know in the chat, actually, if you're looking to pivot your career into product design, whether you want more creative work, with potential of meaning behind that. So pivot, creative, are you seeking better job security, keen to work in tech, or just exploring options? So we've got pivot, creative work, job security, working in tech, or exploring options. If you can put that in the chat function, it will help us certainly tailor our content to the majority and ask the others as well. So thanks, Sam's just put that in the chat. If you're looking, excellent to see them coming through. We've got many pivoters, some creative. That's a common theme, I think. It's such a good option for those seeking a creative field and with purpose in many ways as well. Exploring options, I can see many coming through. Generally, we see people who are interested in product design that want to do that meaningful work to create products and experiences that improve lives and solve problems, often through design. So here's why product design is an attractive career option right now. There's a demand for skilled product designers across a broad range of industry that's recently gone through an uptick that we'll speak to Nav about shortly, but it does mean the opportunities are diverse and evolving. In the UK, we're seeing average salaries ranging from at the entry point around 30 to 70,000 for product designers, depending on seniority, and more than that, much more than that for very senior roles. This growth isn't just about the number of jobs. It's also about increasing recognition of the value that great product design brings to businesses. The business impact is critical. For example, Amazon Web Services report that if a user's online experience with a business is bad, 88% of consumers won't return to that site. Can you imagine losing 88% of your customers through your product or UX UI? Companies are realizing that user-centered design is critical for success and customer satisfaction. Question for Nav: as someone who places talent in this space, what would you say to someone considering a move into UX UI? Is now a good time, and what's fueling that opportunity?
Yeah, it is a good time. It's also important to be realistic about what product design is offering and the value it brings and how product design is being used within businesses. So what's really driving product design at the moment is, like we said, if you've got a bad experience with a digital product, you're not going to return to it. So there are lots of businesses that are traditionally not digitally led, but going through a huge digital transformation. Expectations of digital products are going up, so there's a constant need to improve and iterate on that. And business leaders are understanding the value of what product design brings. There's a huge impact to the broader business as well. So that's what's really driving the growth of product design at the moment.
It's most interesting, isn't it? And we saw the trend, the macro environment change 3 years ago, and on the rebound more recently. Are you seeing that in your business as well?
Yeah, I mean, COVID was an interesting period because any business that didn't have a digital product really suffered. And I think a lot of businesses that didn't went out to the market to introduce new digital products. So whilst there were many negative aspects to COVID, one of the positives that came out of it with regards to product design is it really ingrained the need for digital products within a whole range of businesses out there.
It accelerated it all, didn't it? You're exactly right. Thank you. Just on to the next slide. With product design, we often talk about UX, user experience, and UI, user interface design. And whilst these are distinct areas, they're closely related and often overlap in a product designer's role. UX design focuses on the overall experience of using a product. It involves understanding user needs, creating user flows, and ensuring the product is intuitive and satisfying to use. UI design, on the other hand, is more about the visual and interactive elements of the product. This includes creating visually appealing interfaces, ensuring brand consistency, and designing micro interactions that delight users. As a product designer, you'll likely need to have skills in both of those areas, allowing you to create products that are both functional and beautiful. Justin, one for you. For someone new to this space, it can be hard to picture where UX ends and UI begins. From your perspective, why is it important for a product designer to understand both, and how do these skills, I guess, come together?
Yeah, I think probably the most important reason why you need to understand both is these days there often isn't breaking up of the two roles like we have seen traditionally. I know, Nav, you've also been in the market a long time. It used to always be you'd have your UX designer, they're solely focusing on the experience, kind of behind the screen, what's happening with the user. Then you have someone who's separately doing the UI, and they're really pixel pushing and focusing on the detail and what looks, aesthetically beautiful and follows design principles. Nowadays, companies are often looking for someone to do that end to end, especially if it's like in the startup space or a smaller team. They want that product designer that can do both. And I think what's helped accelerate some of this joining of the two roles, besides like obviously businesses looking to save costs by having one person, is the fact that the UI tools are like much easier to pick up and learn now than they were a decade ago. Like when I started off in design, I wasn't that interested in pushing all day long and just focusing on that graphic design. But now a lot more stuff is automated. Within Figma, for example, the design tool, things you can pick it up a lot quicker and you can spend a lot less time like really focusing on that pixel pushing. And so you're capable of doing more. And so I think it's why it's really important to do both, is because a lot of organizations do just have one product designer. Um, that's why I think it's important. It gives you that capability end to end. Of course, you can still have that love for just user research, like I have in my career, and you can focus on that. But you're going to broaden your opportunities if you can design end to end.
Fantastic. Thank you, Justin. Just for the audience benefit as well, don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them in a Q&A. And it was remiss of me not to mention earlier that toward the end, after we get through the audience questions, maybe I'll also be introducing a special offer for those looking to take on the program. Just on to our next slide, sorry. One of the great things about product design is that it's a field that's highly relevant to those wanting to change careers, to future-proof their careers, to change into digital careers, for example. This is also from fields that may seem unrelated, from ones where product design is a more obvious next step. People come into product design from a variety of backgrounds, and the cohorts that we have either studying or have graduated and have achieved their career outcomes is nothing short of inspiring. We see it all the time. Some common paths include the obvious: graphic design and web development, marketing, and even fields like psychology. What these backgrounds often have in common is a mix of analytical thinking and creativity. There are a lot of transferable skills, and that's one thing that the career coaches will certainly help you with. We'll touch on that shortly. A lot of transferable skills that you can bring from those fields, which is what you'll see right here on the right there. So all those different fields do bring valuable transferable skills that employers certainly see. We'll cover this a bit later, but one of the keys to making a successful transition is to focus on developing the most valuable core skills needed in product design and building a portfolio that showcases them. It's most important. This is where comprehensive education and practical training can be incredibly valuable, but we'll talk about about that in a bit. For Nav, though, we're seeing more people come into UX UI from careers in engineering, for example, psychology, and even teachers. From your hiring experience, how do these diverse backgrounds show up as strengths in the product design world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the most common paths I've seen is actually the move from architecture into product design.
Interesting.
And again, there are lots of crossovers, but ultimately, I think where having a previous career is really beneficial, it's not so much the foundational skills, it's not the craft, it's not the mastering of the tools, it's the softer skills that you've developed in a previous career that really differentiates you from someone who's stepping into a product design role having only perhaps studied it. So things like structured problem solving, analytical thinking. Product design is ultimately about problem solving. So having that empathy with the users, having that business acumen to understand what is the problem here, what is the business trying to achieve, and how do we tie that in with what the user needs? Because they're not always the same, but you're going to have to come to some kind of compromise, and being able to navigate that, having had a previous career, is something that is hugely valuable.
Yeah, that's a really good point. When we design any career accelerator, we always partner with industry along with our university partners. And in this case, it was really interesting that employers, significant employers, were seeking not just that textbook theoretical approach. They wanted the business impact of the learning woven into the content, and that's why I'll touch on it shortly. There's a live and real industry facing project in which one can apply their learning to. But that's very valuable insight as well. On to the next slide, if we can. We spoke about some of those skills, but to become a successful product designer, there are several key skills you'll need to develop. User research, learning how to gather and analyze user data, which is becoming easier. Wireframing and prototyping, creating blueprints of your designs. Visual design, developing your eye for aesthetics and layout, and even looking at others as to what they do in that regard. Usability testing, so understanding how to evaluate or validate your designs with real users. Design software proficiency, so mastering tools like Figma and Sketch, and we can touch on some others shortly. Basic understanding of HTML and CSS. This helps you communicate better with developers. And last but not least, Gen AI literacy. So like prompt engineering, data-driven design, and AI for accessibility. They're some of the key areas in which you'll be able to use that effectively. But Microsoft reported that 66% of leaders say they won't hire someone without Gen AI skills in platforms like Chat, GPT, and similar, which is interesting, and I think will change along the way. Developing these skills does take time and practice, but with dedication and the right guidance, it's absolutely achievable. But for just a question for Justin, for someone starting out, where should one focus their energy first on building a strong foundation, do you feel?
Sure. I will touch primarily on what I call kind of the hard or critical skills with product design. But I just want to first emphasize both you and Nav's points around the soft skills and how critical they are. And especially your point, Daniel, about the business implications and the strategic side of things. Because I see some people in the chat, they're saying they're interested in product design because of creativity. And yes, you get to be creative by coming up with new designs, but at the end of the day, it's not really a creative role in terms of like artwork creativity. I mean, you are working towards a business goal and a business objective, and you're trying to match that with what works for users and what works for real people. So it is a really strategic role that involves, stakeholder management, problem solving, a lot of stuff that you could demonstrate through your previous career. But if we're talking about the hard skills to develop and set a strong foundation, I think first is like get a really good grasp of what product design is. So obviously joining sessions like this is great. I would also encourage you to, have conversations with your favorite AI and search the internet for like to learn more about the role and what people are doing. And then even better, try to talk to an actual product designer about their role. Hopefully you have a connection through, a friend of a friend, or you have friends that work directly in the industry, because they can give you a lot of insights into this. But when it comes to starting to build the basics, once you're confident in an area you want to go into, I think the first step is definitely the Figma, the Figma hard skill. So, everyone, if you're going to be a product designer, you need to know how to design, and almost everyone is using Figma these days. I mean, of course, we need to be conscious that in 5 years' time, a tool could replace Figma, like Figma replaced Sketch, essentially. So we all need to be adaptable to the tools we're using, but the tool of the day is absolutely Figma and being able to design in that. So there's tons of free tutorials online and ways to learn it. Of course, we teach it in this course, and we help you not just with the Figma training, but how it applies to real life and all the other aspects of product design that are important. So the two other main areas I would say besides Figma that's critical to build a foundation of is understanding user-centered design. So like how and why we design things around users, and then how to conduct research. You may not be doing research day in, day out as a product designer, but it will either you'll be working directly with a researcher to run research tests, or you will be running the research yourself. So I think Figma, understanding user-centered design, and research. And of course, you can go and self-teach yourself that stuff. It's not rocket science, but at the same time, it is quite a lot to take on at one time. You don't necessarily have an idea of the real practical application unless you have a very good mentor. And this is where I think our course can come in. So that's sort of
Fantastic.
where I would start. And the one thing I won't go into AI because I think we'll talk about that later. But I think there are some
Yes,
things you can do with AI that will allow you to stand out and be critical for your job applications as well.
spot on. Thank you. Now, from a recruiter's perspective, which of these skills tend to set candidates apart, especially those coming from a non-design or non-design background, I guess?
Beyond kind of mastering the tools and things like Figma, I suppose it's the strategic thinking. It's understanding how what you do has an impact on different areas of the business as well as your users. I think when you talk about product design, it's you automatically think, well, it's about the users. We're advocating for the users. Yes, you 100% are, but ultimately you are understanding what the goals of the business are and marrying the two together. And it's just really important to think, right, we've got two areas, two parts of the problem that we're trying to solve here. So in order to do that successfully, you've got to have an impact on different areas of the business. So you've got to have the ability to influence and impact different areas of the business as well, because not all areas of the business are going to understand the value and impact of product design straight away. So skills like communication, storytelling, are going to be hugely important. Ultimately, what it comes down to is communication. How well can you communicate with people in different areas of the business and at different levels with different understanding of what you do? So having that strong communication is probably the number one thing that I can say differentiates people at different levels in product design.
That's fantastic advice, and I implore everyone just to take a moment to let that sink in, because Nav's right. It's that business impact via the internal and external communication that's so critical, and so many of you that are looking to pivot have already seen that in the workplace and seen the value of it. Bringing that to a design career is only going to greatly assist. Um, it's always valuable, obviously, to hear from someone who's been through that journey. But now let's look at an exciting area that's shaping the future of product design, as we touched on, AI. On this slide, we can see that there's a lot of, and understand there's a lot of hype around AI, and a lot of that is completely justified. But we also need to, at times, take a step back and see exactly where it's useful and where it's not. So while AI alone is not going to make you the best product designer out there, knowledge of what opportunities exist for AI in your role and learning to harness them can be a powerful career differentiator. It's already reshaping UX and UI, helping in areas such as user research, wireframing, and rapid prototyping, personalization at scale, and accessibility. But there's also some clear areas where the human touch is still required. And most of it revolves around our innate knowledge of what it actually means to be a human. Areas like genuine empathy, creative intuition, and an understanding of emotional needs are the key areas that AI won't or can't replace as yet. Question for Justin on this one though. There's a lot of buzz around AI tools in design, from prototyping to personalization, as I mentioned. But from your hands-on experience, where is AI actually making that meaningful impact, and where do human skills still lead?
Yeah, no, this is a great question, and it absolutely is not a hype. And I would say that my guess would be that the design industry, especially current senior designers, are underestimating how much AI will transform in the short term or medium term the work of their teams. And if we look at particularly around how it improves productivity, so that's how most teams are using AI today, right? We're all using it to improve our productivity. And if you're not using it, you are falling behind and not working as fast as other individuals. So I think if you are a junior or someone new to product design and you are actually out there testing and trialing all these different tools that are being used within the different steps of product design for AI, you are going to have a one up on other designers. I mean, for example, I mean, today designers are definitely using it already for productivity. Like you're creating your research scripts, don't create it from scratch, do your first draft with AI. You can check your questions, your research questions for bias, for example, using AI. So it's a great checking point. You can use it to do first drafts of wireframes of UX Pilot or Bolt and even UI designs translated into code. So it's really capable. And I think it's going to be used more and more and more for UI creation. We know as designers that we often borrow great designs from other designers. So if you're going to design a new app, for example, probably 80% of what you're going to design already exists out there in the market, has already been tested for users and works well. Like, if I'm going to design a calendar picker for my app, I don't need to like rethink it and redesign it. I can look at other apps that are doing it well and reuse it. And then there's 20% that you need to tailor it to your product, create a USP. Maybe there's some nuances. And I think like ultimately AI is going to cover a lot of that 80% that's, quite easily done. Why waste time and effort trying to pick and choose and find where to do that design when it can be done? So I think it will be a huge part of the design process. And the onus is on the individuals to test and see what's out there. And we do teach that in our course. We have an AI masterclass series, and our facilitators every week, depending on the topic, are saying how they could use AI. So yeah, it's definitely not a hype, but maybe it's not as used as pervasively yet, and that's partly due with design a little bit to privacy as well, because have to be very careful in research when you're dealing with user data and how that works. But I do think it will be a complete game changer.
Yeah, agreed. And the key is to harness that, to learn it, and to demonstrate that you have it. But Nav, I guess as AI becomes more common in design workflows and practices, how are employers responding? Are they expecting new hires to be AI savvy?
I mean, AI is an interesting one. Like, you can't log on to LinkedIn without your feed being filled with people talking about AI. And I think for people who don't understand how AI is being implemented, there's a lot of fear around it. The fear that it's going to take the roles that designers are currently doing, but that's not the case. I think what employers and how they're utilizing AI isn't to come up with design, not to create design. It's like Justin said, it's to boost efficiency, it's to improve the workflow, it's to do the mundane tasks that allow designers to look at the larger, more strategic pieces of work. So employers aren't necessarily expecting people to come in knowing how to utilize AI, but what they are hoping to see from people is an understanding that AI can be used. You don't have to
Yeah.
be an expert on those AI tools yet, but what you've got to do is just be open and be receptive into AI tools and how they can be incorporated to your day-to-day life as a designer.
Yeah, great point. Um, I'm old enough, if you can't tell, to recall the introduction of Microsoft Office suite of software, and the same fear was around Excel that it would kill accountants. It certainly didn't, and I can see similar fears being spread about AI replacing jobs, but it's also a perfect opportunity to pivot and adapt and harness that technology for one's or for the business outcome, but for one's career as well. Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I just want to add onto that just to, you know, if you're new to design, I think junior product designers are in a really unique place to leverage AI in two ways. I think one is to improve your design, so use it as a coach. We even encourage like our students to use it in addition to the feedback we're giving you. That can get you, if we're doing the 80/20 rule, maybe that gets you 80% there with the feedback, and then the facilitator and the course carries you the rest of the way. So I think it can improve the quality of your work. Like you'll be able to do better design because you'll have like someone giving you real life, like a coach feedback. And then the other thing is, when you're new to design, you cannot design quickly. I look back to when I started in the career, and it would take me forever to do screens and to do different steps in the process. Well, now with AI, you can speed up some of those steps. And I think that's really important for a junior person to demonstrate how quickly you can churn out work and work of good quality. So I think it can help you in that regard, particularly as a junior. product designer.
Good points as well. There's some questions coming through, and Sarah has posted a question. Do you think AI can replace product designers? I guess we've just answered that question there, Sarah. But great question, and the answer is no. It will enhance, but those that do harness it and learn to communicate with it, like they've said before, communication is also how you actually communicate with tools such as AI when you consider an all of company style communication skill. It's a new style of skill as well. We'll move on to looking at some of the tools that are becoming quite common as well. Here's a list of suggested AI tools mapped against the requirement that you might need for them in a design process. Some might be familiar to you, some might not be, but the point is to know what's available and explore the options so you can find the best tool for your specific needs to help you use AI as a career differentiator. We'll share a copy of these slides following so you can refer back to this list at any time and add tools of your own as you go. Now that we've seen what a product designer does and the skills required, let's look at a clear, practical roadmap to help you make the potential transition. First, identify your transferable skills. You might be surprised at how many skills from your current or past roles already align with UX and UI design, whether it's problem solving, visual storytelling, or customer empathy. Next, engage in structured training. Practical project-based courses from credible institutions can give you both the technical and strategic skills needed to succeed, as well as the backing to stand out in the market. And that's where a brand like King's and a university with a reputation, the digital humanities department is recognised globally, the faculty in which this program sits under. For that reason, obviously, they're experts in that human element as well. Then it's all about your portfolio. This is proof of your capability. It's storytelling as well. Even if you haven't had client work, you can build case studies of the practical courses you choose, as well as through hackathons. Volunteering, I think, is a very underrated opportunity that many people look over, or even redesigning existing products that you're passionate about. Next, don't go it alone. Actively seek support, whether it's mentorship, career coaching, or peer community, which the UX, UI, and product design, even product manager communities are very open and very common on many different platforms, but you'll find them easy to engage with. And having the right people in your corner, obviously, through that networking and that support, can accelerate your progress. Finally, navigate the job market with confidence. Use the tools and support you've gained to stand out in applications, interviews, and networking opportunities. Each step builds on the one before, and with the right approach, breaking into product design is absolutely within reach. I'm just going to see if there's any relevant questions to that spot. We'll get to the questions very, very quickly. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the program now as well. You've heard a little bit about it at the front end when I spoke about how we partner with the likes of Figma, Dropbox, Creative Navy, and DocuSign when designing the content. So we spoke with them and asked, what are you looking for in product designers today? We then obviously facilitate that merge of the best of academia from King's with the practical elements that industry require. And what that's produced is the Career Accelerator, which is a 6-month online part-time program made up of 3 courses and 1 employer-facing project at the end. So course 1, understanding user needs. Course 2, designing for user needs. And course 3, user-centered optimization. We integrate AI, and I'm going to come to Justin with that one, through integrating the latest AI enhancements and the impact on the product design in live sessions. You'll cover relevant AI-focused topics such as AI for productivity, user research, UI design, and product development process along the way. The reason and the benefit of that is that it's live and it's up to the minute, up to date. If someone put it in curriculum 18 months ago, you'd question, is it up to date or not? But most importantly, you're supported also in a number of ways. Firstly, there's people like Justin facilitating the live sessions each week. There's also a career coach and a career coaching program that is embedded within the Career Accelerator. This, besides the relevance of the content, is the next most valued aspect when we survey our completing learners. The career coaches will meet with you early on in the Career Accelerator, help you define your intended outcome and goal, and then structure a strategy toward achieving that sooner. So you'll meet with an experienced executive style career coach one-on-one monthly throughout the program. And then for 6 months following, because that's often when you'll be doing the job seeking after you've completed the course. The benefit of that is that you have that person by your side, but also have their experience and ability to highlight your transferable skills, make your new skills shine, develop your networking skills. And we're very agile in the way that we deliver the coaching as well. Aside from those one-on-one sessions with a career coach who you'll get to love, we also do innovative things like career sprints where 6 or 8 or 10 of your learners may come together and share your learnings like you do over in the cafeteria at a university. I reached out to this person on LinkedIn and I didn't get a response, but I changed my approach and I did it to these 5 and I got 3 responses. I had an interview this week and this is where I felt I went really well. I'm going to practice on the part that I didn't. So you can take away some concrete outcomes each from those career sprints to help each other, but also have your takeaways. And also then the program concludes with an employer project. So you'll be in teams of up to 5 or 6 learners. You'll meet with one of our employer partners, such as Sky, who'll present to you a real product design related challenge or scenario within their organization. As a team and through the application of your learning from those first 3 courses, you'll come up with innovative and tangible solutions to that scenario, presenting your recommendations back to Sky or the likes of Sky, our other partners as well, in a consultancy style presentation at the end. The benefit of that is quite numerous. It's practical application of learning in the real world, which is so highly valued by employers. It's brilliant to network more deeply, both with your peers, but also leaders of industry for obvious benefit. And lastly, when you are going for interviews, it is a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to demonstrate the experience that you have in the real world, as it would be to say, bring your exam results to an interview, which I don't think anyone in their right mind would do. No exams, you build a portfolio the whole way through. I hope that answers some questions, but also might generate some questions from the audience. Justin, just before I do move on though, with the AI integrated learning, it's the most important piece. Did I miss anything in relation to that or anything you'd like to add? Just on mute.
No, I think the only thing I might add is a bit around the structure around it. It's centered around 3 major master classes, and this structure is evolving and the topics evolve because AI is so fast moving. But the first master class is focused around productivity and using AI in the product design process, everything from the discovery phase to the actual design. So we do teach you how to use tools like UX Pilot that will create initial designs as well. And then we have a separate session just on masterclass, just on user research, because actually AI has been used in user research way before the Gen AI wave took off. And then our final masterclass series, which is actually running next week on the 17th and is open to leads and anyone who's interested to joining, is about how to design AI powered products. So what is or is there a major difference when designing products powered by AI, that the interfaces of those products, and what are some tips and tips along the way? So we will be running that session. I think Sam might post a link to that session in the chat. But yes, that's the main bit around the master classes. And then every week, the facilitators themselves who are practicing product design every day are sharing how they are using AI within their field, and it varies vastly from company to company, with some that don't allow AI tools. So you still definitely need to know how to do product design. You can't just ever let AI agent do it for you. To those that are really using AI quite heavily in their role.
Great points. Thank you. And we're going to come to the audience Q&A shortly, but not before I actually make the audience aware of we've got another question, but also a portfolio booster pack for when people commit early to the program. So we limit the amount of learners that we can take on for any given intake. And the reason we do that is for your learning experience first and foremost, because if we open it up globally for many, many learners, it may mean that we might have 15 or 20 learners on an industry project, for example, and that might dilute your roles and responsibilities within that team. So we cap our numbers, ensuring that you have that learner experience that's consummate with the brand and what you expect from a program such as this. So for those that commit early though, and pay your refundable deposit by the 27th of June, you'll receive exclusive tools designed to accelerate your career from day one in the program. You'll get a portfolio Kickstarter guide, a downloadable resource delivered after our orientation period that shows you how to turn your current experience and coursework into a job-ready portfolio, giving you the confidence and material to start having hiring conversations sooner, hence the term accelerator, career accelerator. And also 6-month Figma Pro subscription, access to the industry standard design tool from Course One, helping you speak the same language as working designers and start practicing like a pro from day one. We only have 15 of those packages available, and it's on a first come, first serve basis, but should give you a lot of confidence knowing that the value of the program is there for you as well. I'm just going to ask a poll now as well, before we get into the questions from the audience. What's your biggest concern about enrolling in the UX UI product design career accelerator? Is it time commitment? We've said it's around 15 hours per week. Is it the financial cost that we've gone over? Is it the uncertainty about support systems? Or is it that you're uncertain about the career transition success? That's a very big, consideration for everyone. So if everyone can put their answers in there, we'll have a look at the results as they come through as well. Let's have a look at, see how everyone's going with that. We'll give it a second. And then we're going to get into the audience questions, which I'm most excited about. 1 second. Right, so we've got the poll in. Financial cost is the most 60%. Uncertain about career transition is obviously next as expected. Time commitment's not so bad because it is flexible and designed to fit in with you rather than you fit in with university. And the support systems, I think everyone's really, really comfortable with that. So that's most understandable. The career transition success, I think, will also be evidence when you hear other examples of learners making the transition. And we've got a whole host of learner webinars that I've hosted on our YouTube channel available, and we've got others upcoming where you'll hear from learners who've either gone through the program and obtained their career outcome they desired, or they're currently in the program and they've obtained their career outcome. So I think that will help a lot of people overcome that nervousness, and there'll be like stories to your own, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a psychologist or from a psych background or a design background or a teaching background. There's a host of those success stories available to you, both in live, in the events that we'll host upcoming, but also in the events that we've had previously as well. Then in relation to the fees, we can also assist with the fees over a period of time. So £5,995 covers everything, including that extended one-on-one career coaching, which is worth a lot of money if you were to go out and purchase something similar yourself. And there is a discount or a fee reduction of, I should say, available of £500 if you choose to pay up front. We also offer interest-free payment plans over a 6 or 9 month period. No application, no interest, no fees associated with that. Or for those experiencing some form of hardship, we can offer a 24-month plan via our partner in StepX, but that is subject to a finance application. There's a small application fee of £20, but there's no interest associated with that. Hopefully, there's a plan for you to enable you to make a life decision that will transition you into a not only more satisfying career potentially, but eventually a high paying one. That's certainly the return on investment that we hope the program gives you. Some questions for both Nev and Justin and myself. We're going to talk entry level first. We've got a question here. As a front-end developer trying to transition to product design, how easy is it to get an internship or entry level roles? I might ask Nav that from the entry level perspective.
I think different businesses have different requirements for applying for internships. So first of all, I'd say it's going to be very individual, but have a look about what the qualifying criteria is to apply for an internship. But coming from a tech background, I suppose a huge advantage that you have is understanding the limitations of code. Now, designers don't need to know how to code, but you're going to be working with tech people, and what you need to do is design with an idea of understanding what the limitations are with code. So I think that puts you at a big advantage. Whether it could be a direct route to an internship, I'm not too sure. It really depends. Sometimes internships would say you'd need to have studied in a specific field. So just check what the qualifying criteria is for an internship.
Excellent advice. Simus got a question here. How oversaturated is product design? Seems to be a hot career that many people want to be a part of. Is that another one for you, Nev, I think?
I Product design is hugely popular, and kind of over the 7-8 years that I've been recruiting in the space, it's continued to grow. It is competitive, and I think whilst that can be viewed negatively, you should look at the positive aspects of that, and you've got to think about, well, how do I distinguish myself from the others that are entering the industry or currently in the industry? You've got a lot of people that may have been in the industry for a number of years who've got their way of working, but it's a very fluid, it's a very fluid industry. So utilizing AI tools, they just weren't around a couple of years ago. So if you can start mastering this, although it is competitive, you've got a distinct advantage. So it's understanding what unique value you bring and what skills you can develop that perhaps others in the industry don't have.
Exactly. Simmers has another, and thanks for your input, Simmers. If you haven't spoken with your enrolment advisor already, please book a time. There's a link in the chat enabling that, because I think some of the interest you're showing, but also the in-depth questions you've asked are really, really pertinent. And the next one's about the employer project. Who owns the work at the end of that project, considering the cost of the course? It's a great question. And in short, our employer partner does. And the reason for that is that we go through a design process with our employer partners, such as Sky. And the projects that we've done with Sky have been absolutely amazing. But they have to meet King's academic rigor as well. So it is a design process in consultation with King's, because it's got to be academically accredited. It's got to match the learning outcomes required of what we've taught throughout the first 3 programs. So you'll certainly be able to reference different projects in your portfolio. That's the main thing. Some might have an NDA, some don't. But the most important fact is that you're applying your skills obtained in those first 3 courses in a real world project, giving you the skills and confidence to then seek your career outcome by leveraging that as well. So in short, it's a very, very, it's not a common question we get, but a very worthy one, given that you're working with different partners in industry. Someone's asked, if you're in a senior role, say an operational role, can you go straight into a senior UX UI position? Nev, it's often the case where people want to follow their passion to make a career change, but can't take the sacrifice of taking too many steps back. Whilst it might not be a senior and depends on their operational role, have you got any advice for someone looking to transition but not go all the way to the bottom again?
It's the honest answer is I do think that will be tricky, and I think a good task for you to do is write a list of your motivations and your absolute non-negotiables and your negotiables. So, for example, is salary a negotiable or non-negotiable? Is title a negotiable or non-negotiable? And that will help you navigate that. But the reality is it's more than mastering the tools and mastering your craft that differentiates a junior, a mid, and a senior product designer. There's a lot of wider skills and skills that only come with experience of working within the industry. So my honest answer is it would be quite tricky to transition straight from being a senior in another industry to being a senior into product design. unfortunately, it probably is going to involve a sidestep or a side or backward step in order to go forward, because there's a lot more to it than just mastering the tools.
Exactly. And Justin?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Nav said, and partly because that's how I changed in my career from product management to well, the back then UX design, not solely product design, is the reality is like, why are you deserving of more money than someone else who ends up having the same level of experience? But I think what can happen, and what did happen with me, is you often can get the higher range of those starter salaries because you do have that big one up on work experience with your previous job companies. They know you can hit the ground running. They know you can work with stakeholders. They know you can communicate. So you might not have a senior designer role, but you might get the high range of, say, a junior, or maybe the low range of a mid. And then I think, in addition to the goals that Nav mentioned, is create a roadmap. So for me, I had like a roadmap plan of like getting in-house and increasing my salary within 2 years. And I took the risk of even, I think I lived off credit card borrowing I had a plan for 1 to 2 years, because like it was a big financial change in terms of salary. And then I worked my way towards um, my goal. And I think the nice thing about product design is you can accelerate really fast if you, because you can learn quick. It's not, I like to say, it's not rocket science. It's not nuclear physics. Like, you can pick up the skills fast and get good at it fast and get promoted real fast with salaries in product design. You don't have to like slave away for years. I know people that have been promoted to senior roles within a year. So I think I was in a mid to senior role within a couple of years. You can move quite quick. So I think that's a positive side to it, even though you would be maybe stepping back initially. I'm
Yeah,
not
they're good.
encouraging people to take credit card debt, but that is the approach that I took, because it was a drastic change in salary for me, but I had clear goals and a plan in place.
Which has paid off for you, which is great to see. The other thing to add to both your invaluable insights, I think, also is the career coach is helping you identify the type of employer you want to make a change within or into as well, because the level of seniority will sometimes depend on the type of organisation. You might be one that is best suited to a large corporate where there's many doing similar tasks across different products, or it could be a startup environment where you might be the only one and you grow with that startup product along the way. So there's probably a more diverse range of responsibilities within that environment. So the career coaches would certainly identify, and they'd also be upfront and honest with you and tell you if you take a job to them that you're thinking about applying to and you've developed that relationship of trust with them, they won't hesitate in saying that doesn't suit you or that is perfect for you, either one, but they're not going to waste your time by recommending you apply for roles that don't fit your values, for example, or the type of outcome you're seeking. Someone's asked, can I repeat the price? It is £5,995, including VAT, with nothing more to purchase. But as you've seen also, it has the opportunity of providing that early application incentive as well. So there's a great deal of value in that, but none more so than the actual content and the price and the coaching along the way as well. We'll get on to some of the other questions because I'm conscious of the clock. How could someone new to product design conduct research for their first case studies? Anonymous has asked that question, and I'm assuming you mean within the program, but we've built all of the case studies within so that you can apply the learning to those case studies and therefore then put that within your portfolio of design. So you'll demonstrate that to employers. INSEE has asked, how can this course help architects to accelerate their careers? I'm not sure if you mean a transition into UX UI product design, assuming so, but similar to what we've mentioned previously, you've got a whole host of transferable skills. The program with Kings and us here at Fourth Rev will help you develop that suite of new skills to be able to execute a career strategy plan with confidence, highlighting both your transferable and your new skills through the learning, but also through the career coaching as well. I've done that one. We'll move on to the next one. What tools are mandatory for product designer on a day-to-day basis, Justin or Nav? We've already said Figma. Any others?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that people new to the industry, like any other industry, overemphasize the importance of tools. Like, it is different from company to company. The one tool that seems to be throughout is Figma. And then it's just about being aware that companies are likely using some type of tool for testing, usertesting.com, for example. And they're probably using some tool for data like Google Analytics or Mixpanel. You don't necessarily need to know these tools inside out, and it can be a waste of time if you go to the company and they're using a different
Yeah.
tool. But I think the importance is being able to be tool savvy and flexible and able to pick things up quite quickly within the company. I mean, NAV might have a more nuanced response on like what employers expect in terms of tooling. But my view when I was always hiring is that like I always say this, but none of these tools except for Figma take a lot of effort to learn in the detail that the designer needs to learn them. Like you're not going to be a data expert, so you don't need to know it inside out. So I try to get people to stress less about the tools in the course.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think most businesses are quite tools agnostic. Rarely do they say beyond Figma, you need to have experience with this specific tool. It's, if you're familiar with one set of tools for user testing, it's probably going to be quite easy for you to pick up another tool.
Yep. Martin's asked, how much weighting does marketing hold in transferring to product design in comparison with others we listed earlier? I guess, Nav, do you see often the people with marketing backgrounds make that successful transition? If so, what are their most valued transferable skills?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most common. I think for you, it's always about understanding your own motivation and then understanding how the two tie in together. Ultimately, there is going to be a lot of crossover. So it's understanding what that crossover is, but equally is understanding what those foundational skills in terms of the crossover is. It's what those softer skills that you bring from your marketing background, like the collaboration, like the stakeholder management. That's where a lot of the crossover happens. So it's understanding what skills and what experience you bring from your marketing background into UX UI.
Wonderful. We've got two open questions that we've ran out of time for. They both focus on what is the difference. And when we send the slides around, please go to slide 6. We covered that a little bit earlier in the session, and watch the replay or certainly read slide 6 about the difference between the two. But now, for the audience benefit, you've taken this significant step to equip yourself with more information to hear from Justin and Nav and appreciate their insights, both from the course perspective, but also from the industry and recruitment perspective. It's now time for you to take your next step and commit to yourself to make further decisions. And the best thing that you can do from here is either apply to the program, or if you haven't yet done so, speak with your enrolment advisor. They're going to take a very empathetic approach to the conversation, but also your career decision, and help you and help guide you towards what is best for you. As a reminder, though, those that do apply before and pay your deposit before the 27th of June will obtain that portfolio booster pack. It's invaluable to get that resource delivered during our orientation to give your current experience and coursework into that job ready portfolio. And also that 6-month Figma Pro subscription is worth a lot of money for you to hit the ground running, I should say. But now it gives me amazing pleasure to say thank you to our audience, but also for Nav and Justin, thank you so much for your time. Your insights have been invaluable. I think everyone's got I've learned a lot from you both during this session, and the emojis are telling me that everyone else did as well. So thank you both for your insights and for your time today. And Sam in the background, always a pleasure working with Sam. She hosts or puts together these events multiple times a week across our Career Accelerator portfolio, and they're always so well received. For the audience, though, thank you for your time. You've really made a positive step towards educating yourself about your next career decision. We're here to help. We're here to support you, but we're here to celebrate your career success once you go through and obtain your intended outcome, and that's what it's all about. Have a great day.